Watching for a possible setup on the futures. I took a trade a little bit earlier as trying to look to see if it breaks the 6460, and it kind of went up a little bit, came back down. And that was the top of this rising wedge pattern. You can see this kind of 5 minute shooting star pattern at the top of that rising wedge. I'm still keeping an eye on it, but it did pull back and it's still hovering on this 9 EMA in a 5 minute. So that's why I'm still watching it to see if it's going to hold that 9 EMA and if it's going to go and break high day and go up to, all-time highs, if it's going to make a rush to that towards the end of the day. But it's still watching that rising wedge. I thought, it could continue falling down, but I just want to kind of keep watching the setup here. There is a 1 minute head and shoulders pattern, but if it can clear, I'm still looking at that 6460-ish level. So it could break down into a head and shoulders failure, and it could be a rising wedge failure, which that's something to really keep an eye on. But again, if it's bullish and it can break out, I'm going to keep an eye on this setup. So I walked away from my computer for a bit, and price is kind of slowly still grinding above this 6460. Kind of has a head and shoulders on this 1 minute. Want to see if it can break above this 63, kind of 65-ish area. If so, I might take an entry, see if it can break high of day, and again move to all-time highs around that 6468. So you see, it's just kind of been kind of up, down, kind of riding that 9 EMA right on that 5 minute here. So I was taking some scalps, on it, and I'm still kind of watching it to see right here if there's another possible scalp for an entry. But I'm going to wait for this 5 minute to close and see what happens, see if it can break above that 64.65 high a day. All right, keep an eye on it right now, slowly grinding up, new 5 minute candle, right, watching that left shoulder here. And again, going to watch that 64.65-ish level. If it can break above that 25-ish level, I might take an entry and use this kind of 64.65 area as a stop if it continues up. So watching this tick chart here, see what happens at the top near high a day around that 64.65, 25 level. All right, new 1 minute candle forming, seeing if it goes and breaks above 64.65.25. But I'm looking probably that 50-ish level. If it hits that 50 level, I might take an entry. Otherwise, it could form like a shooting star gravestone candle right here, possible double top if it doesn't break that 50-ish level. Another 30 seconds left to this candle, this 1 minute candle. And again, if it breaks above that 50 level, I'll take an entry. And then I'll use that 64, 65, probably, or right around here, 64 as a stop. Keep a tight stop just because it's nearing all-time highs. So, I don't want to give back any profits I'm making on this, but if it can make and get a good run up to all-time highs, I might scalp it up towards that. Or if not, just keep a tight stop because this could turn into a rising wedge failure. All right, watching this last 1 minute or new 1 minute candle forming here. Kind of still doing the yo-yo. Possible cup and handle-ish. Watch and see again that 64, 65, 50-ish level. So I'm actually going to put a level, a buy stop order above, right at that buy stop at the 50-ish level. So buy stop is if it goes and hits that 50-ish level, I'll take a position and get in, and then I'll use kind of like a tight stop over in this area. So I put the buy stop at 64, 65, 50. So if price moves up to that level, it'll fill, and then I want to see it hold and continue up and make new highs. Might be creeping here. Last 1 minute here left to this candle. You see it kind of moved right up to it, and it didn't hit it, so it kind of hit back down. So last 1 minute candle here, see what happens. Another 30 seconds left of this candle. See if it
Stop filled.
There it goes. It filled. Now it's continuing up. So now I want to see this continue up and hold its highs and keep moving up. So we'll see what happens. And I'll use this 9 EMA as a guide here on the 500 tick. So I want to see it continue to go up and hold its highs and see what happens if it goes up and will reach all-time highs or if it's going to come back down. Right now it's showing a little bit of weakness at the moment here, so we're going to watch and see if this flags and continues up. So Again, want to see it hold this high a day here, which is at 65-ish level. So right down here, that's why I'm using this as a guide. If it fails kind of this level down here, right down to the 20-ish level on the 500 tick, I'll consider getting out just to keep it tight stop. So it might smack down and then bounce back up. But we're going to watch right here and again see if price can break above and create a new 1-minute high and see what it does at all-time highs if it continues up. All right, there it goes on the 500 tick. Let's see, just keeping a close eye on the 1 minute. Let's see where it goes. All right, it's pushing up to that 64.67-ish level. See how this new 1 minute candle is about to form. All right, so it's showing some weakness at the moment now. It is bouncing off the 9 EMA in a 1 minute, so I'm watching that tweezer top closely. It still has another 3 minutes left of this 5-minute candle. So it's got angular support here. So this 20 EMA is really my guide right now, which is really that 9 EMA on a 1 minute. So I'm just going to watch this one really closely and decide if I'm going to get out if it doesn't hold. So I really want to see this get a push up. If not, I'll consider getting out. All right, it's really still another 20 seconds left or so on this candle. I'm going to
Order filled.
So this one right here, it fell below the 20 EMA on the 500 tick, and then it was starting to fall below the 9 EMA on a 1 minute. And so at this point, I kept what happened on that one. So I lost 34 bucks. So it was around 34 is up, I think maybe around a $70 loss. This has been just a really tricky day for me trading. So I'm just kind of distracted while working and then also trying to take trades in the platform. So this is kind of a little bit of annoyance, but that's why I kept it a really tight stop. So down, what was I? I was up 30, so lost 30. Yeah, so about around $65 or so took a loss. So today's been an up and down kind of day. I took a bunch of trades, but again, $34 on the day, near all-time highs. I wanted to see if it was going to continue up. It did a little bit, and then it came back down. So it's definitely showing some weakness at the moment.